You know, I don't know if I'll be a swamp guy. Well, I am known to be damp and dry. Uh, because damp like a fake tattoo. Ever gone to a tattoo shop? Did you know that you can actually request to get fake tattoos, but they still put the needle in you? You can have the full tattoo experience. You know, the same paint and everything, but they just layer it so thinly that it'll fade out, I think, over a couple months. You know, I think they should do that with all tattoos, to be honest. You know, you tell them it's permanent, and then after 2 or 3 months, it fades away. One, you will see who even really got a tattoo and was dedicated to it and actually gave a shit about it. And if someone were to disappear in 2 or 3 months, one, you'll probably see who actually gives a shit about their kids. A tattoo is like a kid. You know, if it were to disappear after 2 or 3 months, most would be like, oh my God, what happened? And then there'll be some like, what you gonna do, you know? It's probably best I didn't follow through with that one. But yeah, you know, they say tattoos are something you can never take. It's one of the few things out here where you can never, once you make that permanent decision, you cannot change it. For some reason, it's easier to get rid of children. And speaking of getting rid of children, apparently, because, you know, it's Fox News at its finest. Really just general mass news media, which I hate that term. But they were showing a drone on the border where there was these trafficking of kids. It was like pretty stereotypical, you know, the trafficking of the kids were going from one bus to another, you know. And I'm like, so we have drone footage of all this. And Fox News' whole angle was, see, look what the Biden administration allowed. It's like, okay, but y'all had the same footage, and y'all didn't go and stop it. You know, you could have called the police if it mattered that much to you, which is odd. That all of a sudden we have this obsession with immigration. We have this obsession with the border. Well, anything's better than on the board of the restaurant. That is one of the most underwhelming Tex-Mex fake. I hate these American-made Mexican chain restaurants. I'm not talking about anything with Los or Law at the beginning. You're good, you know. It's Americanized, but you know, if most of the waiters or waitresses are, you know, have broken English, you know, you're in a good place. But when you go to these on the borders, these Tin Lizzies, these fake Tex-Mex chain restaurants, where it's basically an Applebee's for Mexican restaurants. It's basically the Chili's of Mexican restaurants. And there's nothing wrong with the Chili's. But if I want Mexican food, I think it's abominable to pay $5 or $6 for a single taco. I don't care if you're putting some fried shrimp. I don't care if you're putting some oyster sauce. I don't care if you're putting Worcestershire, you know. It's always like, oh, we put this Baja Chipotle mayo on this dry-ass coleslaw looking thing and called it Baja Fish Tacos, mahi mahi. It's like, yeah. That's how we get. But you know what? That's because we have this obsession with tacos. We have overrated tacos. I love tacos, but we have made it something it's not. We have bastardized it. That's the thing where us in America, you know, typically us in America, we make things, how do I say it? When we take culture, we typically make it more mass. We typically like make it maybe more mainstream. We make it bigger. We make it more innovative. That is not the case when it comes to tacos. All we do is dumb it down, make it dry, charge 4 times as much, And we create a whole fake, authentic, what do they call it? Rustic environment. All these fake Tex-Mex, fake Mexican restaurants. They try to have this rustic vibe, you know. There's no sense that you're in a Mexican restaurant. They're playing Demi Lovato in there. Oh, she's Latin American. It's like, yeah, but if you didn't look it up, you wouldn't know she's Latin America. She's Latin America. I'm so stupid. That shows you my ignorance, you know. Well, don't put a taco. What's it called? What was the thing she had an issue with? Was it muffins? Whatever that thing was, where it's like, don't put a cookie. That's what it was. It was cookies. It's like, you can't put a cookie out in front of me because I might eat it. It's like, she does look like the Cookie Monster when she's singing. Because, you know, she's very into it. Very intense. But yeah. I think we need to start creating state laws. If I was a governor of any state, I don't care what the GDP, I do not care what inflation, I do not care about what the current homelessness issue is. My first rule I would make is reasonable pricing for common sense shit. I do think there should be caps on how much you could charge for a singular item. You should not be able to charge more than, let's just say, $8 for a peanut butter jelly sandwich. I don't know what place is serving peanut butter jelly sandwiches. I think for a sub, anything that's 14 inches or less, a sub should never exceed over $15. I do not care what the fuck you're putting on that shit. You know? I think for tacos, a single taco should never exceed $3.50 each. And you better stuff that shit, you know? And I know we've been spoiled to think that, oh, Taco Bell, Del Taco, these fast food chains, everything's $1, $2. And, you know, they're low quality. But, yeah. But when you get these tacos at these places, they're the same fucking size and sometimes smaller. So, yeah. I just think it's ridiculous. That's all. But hey, I don't know. I'm a guy who still can't get the camera angle right. I literally never hire me to do your photo shoots, because if you're hiring me to do the lighting or the angles to make your, let's just say if you're doing like one of those men's physiques and you're trying to do the best cameraman, you know, to make certain parts of your body pop out, I'm probably not the guy. I will find ways to make you look flat and underwhelming. Like back in the day when they used to do ESPN the nude issue, I may have been the perfect photographer for that, you know. Be like, don't worry, I'll make sure they don't see a thing. And that was the thing, you know. Imagine, that's always weird on these shoots where you have to be nude. Which honestly, I have a theory about the ESPN when they used to do the nude magazine. I don't think it was all about exploring or really appreciating an athlete's body. I really think it was a way for, you know, Title IX to get back at us. But no, I generally do think that it was a cool concept. But, you know, they didn't actually have to have them nude on set. They could have done some cover-ups like they do at movie sets. You know, it was some, you know, horny, sexualized editor-in-chief that, you know, was either in the closet or, you know. See, here's a problem with inclusion. And by inclusion, I mean females. That didn't sound any better. No. But when you put if you were to put, you know, ladies in powerful positions, this is a way to get back. which is odd. You know, it's always odd to have an all-ladies network or even an all-male network. But people are like, oh, well, every network's all-male network. It's like, is it? You know, even back in the day, in the most heinous of misogyny, we found ways to put female anchors on TV, you know? Now, your pay may have been, you know, a little lackluster, but hey, you got a lot of media deals. That's Marilyn Monroe. Which apparently there's a picture of her standing in a hot dog stand in a rare photo in New York City. Well, she was known for gobbling weenies in the city. There's a reason why JFK head was blown. That was terrible. And kind of insensitive. But you know, it's been 50 years. People care more about the autopsy report. Was it an inside job? Well, the thing went inside and out real quick. But yeah, you know, what people don't talk about. Just imagine how traumatic that would be to be just sitting in a car and to just watch and feel your loved one's head get blown off in front of you. People don't really empathize with that. I don't know if Jackie is still alive today. Jackie? I wonder if that's why they named her Jackie in that 70s show. Was Kelso supposed to be a dumb version of JFK? And then Jackie was supposed to represent Jackie Kennedy. Because Kelso was always, you know, looking around. He was actually, you know, he was pretty faithful for the most part. Even though what's weird about that show in real life, she was like 14 on the show and he was like 19. But even though the show was made in the late 90s, early 2000s, I'm not saying that was normal. But, you know, you got hide behind like, oh, it's just TV. But then in real life, you know, when they actually do get married and stuff down the line, it's like, this definition kind of like some weird grooming stuff, you know. Even if you didn't groom her. But that is kind of odd. Even though they are portraying a 70s show. And in the 70s, I mean, you know, every 19-year-old dude was trying to get with the 14-year-olds. That's just how it was, you know. That's traditionalism, I think. Even though they didn't really stress religion in that show. What do you know? So yeah, crisscross applesauce. And I would put my hands in my lap, but I would disconnect the cord and strike one. A minor. Oh, I just said I would strike A minor. That means I'm abusive. I'm not abusive. I don't think I would be an abusive father. That's weird to say. I don't think I would. I'm pretty damn sure. I mean, I don't know. We all have our bad moments, you know. They say one wrong thing on the wrong day, you might smack them across the head, you know. Is that abuse? These days, I don't know. It's not as bad as leaving your kid, leaving two of your daughters randomly at an amusement park while you take your oldest daughter on a roller coaster and wait 2 hours in line. That's a true story. But that's odd, because it's like a guy, he took his 4 daughters to an amusement park by himself, which is crazy enough. I don't know how you make that shit work. And he went on a ride with his oldest daughter. And then, like, I think 2 of the other daughters, he had basically wait, like, in the open in the park, like, under a bit or on a bench, like, waiting for them for a couple hours. And it's like, I don't know if you guys have ever been to an amusement park, but your options are pretty limited. I'm not defending the guy. What I am saying is, if you're in a situation where no one can either go on the ride or wants to go on the ride, but one kid wants to go on the ride and you're the only parent there, what are you supposed to do? You know? Have them wait in line with you on a ride they don't want to fucking go on? Ever been to anywhere with kids? Not gonna happen. So yeah, welcome to episode 296 of the Off Me podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Most support, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to suck some titties. Yeah. recording this on April 26th at 12 something, probably 1 a.m. Who knows? Recording this at 1:12 a.m. Eastern, August 26, 2024, for the archives. Yeah. But yeah. That's the thing. What's really child cruelty, you know? That's the age-old question. What is really child cruelty? It's a very touchy subject, you know? There's the obvious, you know, beating your kids, abusing your kids. You know, then there's the kind of, yeah, this is pretty bad, but it could be forgiven. You know, if you were to, you know, push your kid down the stairs. You know, it happens, you know. If you were to lose your shit one night, you know, your wife is telling you, you know, how unhappy she is and all this stuff, and you say, fuck them kids, and your kids hear you. You know, your kids may be able to forgive you. You know, they understand when they get older the stress that comes with being a father of a household. And then there's the ones that are like, legitimately, is it really cruelty? Is it really abuse? Sorry to all the abuse. Sorry to all the kids out there who were abused. As one, well, I wasn't a victim, but I know people that were. Abuse. I'm not talking about that, you know, the other stuff. I just mean, you know, if you were beaten, you know. It's okay to have been beaten as a child. You can overcome that. The other stuff's a little bit more, you know, you might need a few better help sessions. And you better help your bank account if you want to do that. You know what's odd? They have payment plans for everything these days, man. Like, I mean, everything. Legitimately, I was online looking for a phone case. Like, phone cases are anywhere from 10 to 25, maybe $30 at most if you're getting like a really good. And on anything, you could pay these things in 6-month payments. You could pay 6 payments of like $5 a month or $4. It's like, you know, if you gotta go on a payment plan for $4 a month, you probably just shouldn't get it. You know, and it's that comfortability of payment plans. It sounds good. It's like, why not just spend it all up front? Spend the $30 up front. I understand we don't allow $30 all the time, but if you have to split up in 6 payments like that, you probably just shouldn't get it. You know, it's probably not that important. But yeah, there's your thought of the day. But yeah, I don't know. What is, you know, child abuse? You know, if I was a kid today, and let's say I had a dad named Randall. I don't know why I said Randall. Say I had a dad named Randall. And let's just say I was 9 years old. You know, I come home from school. I'm out playing wiffle ball, maybe shooting some hoops out back. And, you know, my dad goes out there and be like, hey, I need you to come help me with something. And they're like, I don't want to do that. And he comes out there and is like, I don't give a shit what you want to do. You're coming in and you're helping me reorganize the whole garage, you know? And you're like, have an attitude. And he's like, you know what? He goes out there and he just grabs you like a dog by the collar, brings you inside, sits you down, and just smacks the table around you to intimidate you with noise. And then now, as you get older, every time you hear a immediate thump noise, you look around like a cat. Because you're highly sensitive to just someone slamming stuff around you. to scare you or intimidate you. Now, maybe some people will say that's abuse. You're creating trauma for your child. Or it's a way to fast forward your child's ability to have alertness. Because you don't want them to find the hard way. You can't predict how much the world is going to humble them. So sometimes you got to infiltrate abusive techniques without abusing your child to make them alert to protect themselves. See? And that's how you rationalize child abuse. God, this whole topic is way out of my depth. But, I just proved a point that you can rationalize anything if you want to. So, yeah. Anyways, move the decibel over because I will subtract you from the final product of the show. But yeah. Apparently, I was listening to something earlier where the CEO, the founder of the Huffington Post, I think her name is Ariana. And boy, does she have a grande of a smile. Just kidding. She looks nothing like Ariana Grande. But apparently there's a debate out there. Who's a better singer, Ariana Grande or Mariah Carey? Who has a better voice? Now, I know I'm all over the place right now, but trust me. There's legitimately people getting upset about this. There are clips going around of other shows having this debate. And the crazy part is people are always going to resonate to nostalgia, to classic, to established. Like Mariah Carey is obviously more established, made all the money in the world. Her career is what it is. It's not going to get any better or worse. She's a Hall of Fame singer. Whatever they do for music to make them in the Hall of Fame. Everyone just goes in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, even if it's not rock and roll. So I don't know how that shit works. But in their prime, on stage singing live, if you were to be objective and just heard the voices, didn't have your biases towards the names or their personal lives, because really if you know both their personal lives, you're probably not going to be fans of either one of them, to be honest. Who actually is a better singer or has a better voice? And I think they're unpopular, but when you really think about it, a lot of people I think would probably say Ariana. And by a lot, there's obviously going to be generational bias, age bias. Because we live in this world where like no one could currently be better than a legend in something. Like there's no one that could ever be better than Tupac. There's no one that could ever be better than Jay-Z. There's no one that could ever be better than George Strait. There's no one that could ever be better than Tim McGraw. There's no one that could ever be better than B.B. King. There's no one that could ever be better, even if someone comes along and they are objectively better at the craft in terms of either the singing or the instrumentation. But yeah. I don't know. I don't really listen to Ariana Grande's music. She's like the size of a grande. I think there's grande burritos and Taco Bell that are bigger than her. She is one small gal. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, I think she's like 4'8". She's like Simone Biles without the calves. That's a weird, of all the things I could say about Simone Biles. Like, yeah, she's a great gymnast. She could climb rope. She can do all these somersaults, these 880 backflips. But them calves. She's just one big old firework of dynamite, just doing flips and stuff, Her balance is impeccable. And today's sponsor, Smart Balance. Is it even butter? Who knows? It's hydrogenated, like this podcast. Because I'm just milking the oil out of the seed. And apparently seed oils are bad for you. But you know what's not bad for you? Seeing me oil you up. I'm such a fool. But yeah. And, if you want to sponsor Rise Fuel, that is today's energy drink. And it is like a knockoff version of Ghost. It's not bad. It'll give you effect. It's like having a draft Coors Light, You're drinking it and you're like, I know this is beer. This thing doesn't really taste good or bad, but it's beer. And if I drink enough of it, I'll feel alright. That's what this is like. Rise Sour Punch is basically a draft Coors Light. When you wonder why these restaurants are like $2 draft beer nights, because it's just mostly foam, carbonation, and inadequacy, But yeah. I still haven't been to a live concert. I think the only live concert I've ever been to, well, I guess Broadway is considered a live concert, but in terms of independent musicians, was post-game shows that were included with the Braves ticket. I saw the All-American Rejects one time. I like the All-American Rejects, They have songs I like, It's like, you know what? When it's included, you get to watch a whole baseball game. You're in like first class type of thing. Well, I wouldn't say first class, like second class, You're on the, the level of the stadium. You have the seats where you're on the level where you're on the level of, what do they call it? The luxury restaurants. You're on the level of the luxury eateries and the luxury sky clubs and all that stuff. But you can't actually technically enter it, but you're on the level of the seats. Yeah, that's where we were. It's a random fact of the day. But hey, all you can eat seats, I think. But yeah, saw All-American Rejects one time. The dude looked methed out of his mind. He put on a good show. But that dude's definitely on something. The dude literally looks like a vampire. He's the definition of fitting that emo pop. Now, this was like back in, 2012, 2013 type of thing. It was a good show, And, they played all the hits. They sounded good. But, like sometimes some like the group sounds fine. But something about an individual is distracting. Typically, it's the lead singer. This dude literally looked like a vampire up there. If you want to believe in musicians selling their soul or looking like their soul is taken from them, this dude looked like he had slept in 4 days. This dude kind of looked like David Lee Roth. If you know anything about Van Halen, he had that front man energy, except he didn't really have energy. The dude was just running on motions. Like, he literally looked like there was someone puppeteering his movements. But, I don't know. I guess eventually, though, we all gotta move along. Well, there's my dirty little secret for the day. All right. Don't worry. This show, it ends tonight. And right now, I know I'm giving you hell. Oh, I'm such a fool. Yep. But that's what it's like being me. No matter where you go, you're observant. I'm an observing guy. And, I think it's a protective thing. You know, I really am like a cat or a dog. You enter a place, you look around, you're judging people. You're looking at potential threats. You're looking at potential creeps. But mainly, you're looking at the odd couple. And I don't mean literally a couple. I mean, you're looking at the odd man out in the room. It could be odd man, odd woman. You're looking at the thing that I like 40 minutes from now, something about this person is interesting. And I don't know what it is, you know? And I'm a very observational person to a fault. And sometimes it gets me in trouble. It makes people think I'm always looking them up and down. It makes people think I'm judging them hard. And even though all that is true, I am judging you all the time. Because you're judging me. We all judge each other. Judging is actually very good. I think you're insane if you walk into somewhere and you're not judging your surroundings. I think there's something wrong with you. You go into a strange place, you need to watch every fucking person. And based off your experiences, there's typically there's assumptions you can make about individuals. If you've seen individuals that have those similar characteristics from place to place. I'm not talking about the way people dress. I'm not talking about culture. I'm not talking about race. What I'm talking about is if you walk into a place and you see a certain face a guy makes in a similar corner part while drinking a certain thing, while having his phone on his table compared to in his hand, there's a difference between people. So, and here's a weird ass observation I've made. And you're going to think I'm fucking crazy or like it means nothing. People who lay their phone on the table in front of them. And they lay it on the table and they scroll with their finger. With the phone laid on the table where they're not carrying the phone. Compared to when you have the phone in your one hand and you're scrolling with the other finger. Let's say it's in your left hand, but you're scrolling with your right index finger. Or the guy or girl that in the same hand they have it in, they're scrolling up and down with their thumb. The person that lays it down on the table, I feel like they have it on the table as an open invite, right? Here's my assumption of people's characteristics, of like personality. People that lay on the table, they're very punctual. I like space. They're very intentional. So they have it on the table, they're locked in. But it's like, hey, someone could come over and interrupt me and ask me something, and I'll be very nice about it. Now, the person where they have in their hand, in their left hand, but they're scrolling with the right index finger, you know, that could be a hit or miss characteristic, trait. You could get someone who's very research based, meaning they're always looking for the next thing, which means if they're always looking for the next thing, they're typically not content people, which means they're going to cheat on your ass. No. But it means, you know, they're never happy with what's at place. They're always looking for some excitement. And they get bored easily. And you going over there talking about, so, what are you doing in these neck of the woods? They're going to look at you, nod their head, and be like, not giving you any neck in any woods. Then you got the person that is in the same hand, they're one-handers, which means they got decent sized hands. Gotta be careful with those. Where they have it in the left hand, let's just say, and they're scrolling everything with the thumb. while they're drinking something or while something else is in another hand. These are just people that are rude. I don't know what it is. It has nothing to do with their rude on their phone, but it's almost like something about just everything being in one hand. It's almost like this superiority, and they kind of are like leaders of their own pack, and they want some type of attention. And this is guys or girls. This isn't specific to any gender. They want some type of attention, but if they are unimpressed with your approach or your attention to them, they will make you feel worse than just if you didn't. You know? They're not going to be nice about it. They're going to give you that roll in their eyes that, how the fuck dare you approach me type of shit, you know? How dare you ask me what I want to drink? It's like, I'm your waiter. My bad. Sorry for interrupting, but okay, fuck me. They're going to be that. They're definitely going to send their food back, no matter fucking what, you know? They're the ones that are going to talk on speaker in a public place. They're going to be one of those people. And talk loudly obnoxious about things they shouldn't. And then act like you're disturbing their night. One of those. So yeah, there's my odd observation of the day and week. I really just do be watching people too much. I'm a consumer of your actions. So yeah. Nothing like a good RCA, you know? Ooh, there's a little leg action. Only have to lift it up for y'all. RCA stands for Recreational Cavity of the Anal. RCA is an underrated technology. I don't know what they are. They're not a brand. They're probably like a brand of a brand. Like Samsung. They make phones. They make fridges. They make just the odd. I think they make vacuums. It's weird how these companies make so many fucking different shit. Like when you think of Michelin, right? You think of Michelin tires. But like with with restaurants, they have the Michelin Stars. For the longest time, I try not to be so obvious, and I try not to be so like, you know what, there's no way, it's gotta be some completely, because typically when there's two of the same names and two completely sub-contexts of different worlds of stuff, it typically just, they happen to have the same name, but the origin of the name comes from something completely different. Nope, the Michelin Star is exactly actually the Michelin Tire Company. And I'm like, okay, for the longest time, I really thought it was like some guy named Michelin. Or it was some like French magazine that happened to be named Michelin, you know? It's like, nope. It's literally sponsored by the fucking tire company. The auto company that makes Michelin shit. It's exactly them. They're like, hey, you know, need tires? Hey, when you get new tires, here's a review of all these restaurants nearby. It's actually not a bad deal. It's like, hey, we saved you some money, quote unquote. Why don't you spend all that money that you could have spent here and take it to one of these restaurants where we actually get a 10% incentive for you going. But yeah, owning a restaurant is got to be one of the... It literally, as time goes on, it literally makes no sense to legitimately start a restaurant. It's legitimately, especially with food costs, how much more people are resistant to going out to eat. And our standards for even fast food now is pretty insane. Because, like, if you are going to be charging, they're charging for everything these days. Like, you better be fucking, you know, like, I'm someone, I don't have the highest standards. Like, I'm pretty lenient. Like, I go to a place, I kind of judge like the scale of a place. Like, all right, this is a medium fast food. There's levels of fast food and takeout. And you typically adjust your standards based off that. And then sometimes you're even underwhelmed by the most underwhelming of places. And that's when you're just like, fuck you, you know? It's one thing to be overpriced. It's one thing to be properly priced. And then you're so underwhelming. That's almost worse, you know? But yeah, Starbucks. There's a lot of shit going on with Starbucks. And look, I'm an avid coffee drinker. I think I may go to Starbucks 2 times a year. Like, and I don't really drink coffee like that. I get there, you know, sus drinks for a man to get. Yes, I'll be one of those that gets a vanilla bean frappuccino. I will be one of those that can I get a s'mores latte? Actually, I don't even like lattes. I've never understood the whole fucking point of lattes. It's whatever. By the way, you assholes that get Americanos, you realize you're just getting hot water with a couple shots of espresso and be like, oh, this is real coffee. You're literally paying $7 for 4 ounces of actual product that's not water. So you know what? You deserve all the hate you get. Because you know what? I gotta say, I may have told this story before. But when I used to work at a coffee shop, back in my youth, I'm not exaggerating. It was like the first time like I really started like become a regular consumer of it, you know. And I was working the front counter, and this guy, you know, you could tell he kind of had a pretentious attitude, like I make some money, and he didn't even really feel like he made money. He felt like since he made like just a bit more than the average person, like he probably made like $70,000 to $75,000 a year. That's kind of the vibe I get. You could typically get a vibe of a range amount if someone dictates how much money they make depending on their attitude. It's always the guys that make $65,000 to $85,000 that have the most annoying arrogance about them. It's like, bro, you're not even that fucking rich. You lose your job in 2 months, you're right back here working with me. So humble yourself. Plus you're 5'8", you know? Not that that's anything to do with it. Get your 5'8" looking ass out of here. I really don't have a problem with anyone who's 5'8". But if you're going to have an attitude or you're going to have a sense of superiority. So anyways, this guy, he said, just curious, oh, so what do you, I hate when people ask me, like, what do you like? It's like, first of all, I know you have this stuff all the time. I've seen you in here all the time. This isn't like this is your first or second time at this location or this company trying shit out. Like, I've seen you here dozens of times. Like, your guy, you get the same thing. Like, you know, we know what you like. It's cool. This man's like, so what do you drink? I was like, you know, typically I just make myself iced coffee. And he's like, you drink iced coffee? And I'm like, yeah, I drink iced coffee. He's like, oh, I mean, typically, most of the men I know drink hot coffee. And I'm like, oh, really? Do they? That's interesting. And of course, working, I can't really say, you know, that they're the same fucking thing, you know? I can't really say that, you know? But I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this guy's really trying to make a guy making $8.50 an hour, trying to tell me what type of coffee real men drink, right? Only a guy that makes $65,000 to $85,000 a year would say some dumb shit like that. No guy making $100,000 plus. No guy with a real comfortability in their job is saying some shit like that. You think they fucking care what drink you drink? Like, you really think they care if you drink black coffee or, you know, regular? And also, like, I don't know if this is still a thing, but there would be a lot of customers, right? And I know coffee customers are one of the most, it could be one of the most enjoyous experiences as an employee, or it could be one of the most frustrating. Because there is coffee lingo, right? Where people that drink coffee all the time, they think there's this universal language across every single coffee shop in the fucking world, where they will say things like, I'll take a regular coffee. Okay, so you'll take a regular coffee, would you like cream and sugar? And they're like, yes, I said I wanted a regular coffee. It's like, okay, well, the reason why we fucking need to clarify, because there's regular, original, there's decaf, there's dark roast, there's Colombian roast, there's your mom's I'm in your mom's butthole roast. There's a lot of different roasts. So I'm sorry, because regular can mean original. Because sometimes people differentiate. So I'm sorry for asking if you want a cream and sugar. I didn't want to assume you want cream and sugar in case you had an insulin problem and accidentally put some in there. So just say you want fucking cream and sugar, but it's whatever. It's like them thinking if they were to have to say 3 extra words, it ruins the whole experience. Why do we think saying less, being more vague in what we like, getting this simple ass drinks? We make these things, we're supposed to have this like relationship with your barista or the employee, depending on what the place calls people that make your drink and take your order. We think that like the more cool, like we are not in fucking Scotland. We are not in Switzerland. We are not in Paris. Like fucking just tell me the things you want. I know what the regular amount. Tell me the size. Just say the size of the drink. Say the drink. And then say the stuff you want in the drink. It's really not that fucking hard. But yeah, we live in this world where it's like, I want a latte light. And they'll say things like, I want foam scraped. You want foam scraped? What the fuck is foam scraped? They'll be like, I want half this, half that. It's like, half of what? You want, like literally, I had this one customer. They would say, I want a coffee half and half. Okay, so we have cream that is half and half. Some people refer to cream as half and half. But some people, half and half can mean they want half original, half decaf. Or it could be half of whatever different style of coffees. So I asked to reaffirm, and she's like, I get this. She started to get attitude with me. I remember very vaguely. This crusty old woman saying, I get this. She said, she didn't even say like, she immediately went to, I get the same thing every morning and I never have this problem with anyone else. And I said, well, I'm sorry. I'm that anyone else today. I actually did say that. Because you know what? I just got there. I've been there for 10 minutes. I work 2 jobs at a time. I work 16-hour days. I really don't give a fuck to hear about, I don't have this problem with anyone else. That's great. Well, you're going to have it with me today. And I said, so do you want half and half of what? She said, just a half and half coffee. So you know what? I didn't ask any questions further. So what I did, I gave her the best of both worlds. I gave her half coffee, half regular, half decaf, and I put half and half cream, and I put half the amount of sugar. I did everything half you can think of. And you know what? I gave her the drink. She took a sip. And you know what's the crazy part? She said, oh my God. This shit's the best I've had here in a while. And I'm like, yeah. Because you don't know what the fuck you want. So now I know what the fuck you want. I think coffee shops it has this elitist, it has this rustic mentality. And I think that's where I think that's why Starbucks has had a decline. Starbucks, one, forget the overpriced. It's too, the coffee smell is too strong in there, right? It has become a place to be seen, but it's a place that people go to be seen, but you don't really, it doesn't have that Starbucks feeling anymore. Like, it's not really a relaxing place to go. It's very, if you go there, even when it's not busy, it just feels stressful. Like, it feels like behind the counter, it's too long. It's too much shit to go to make a drink. Like, it's really not, it should not be an 8-step process to make a lot of this shit. I'm sorry to talk 20 minutes about fucking how to make a coffee drink. But I think it does connect to the fact that Starbucks complexity has really affected the relationship, because it has taken, if you go there, it really does take forever to get your drink. It really is about, yes, the quality of the drink, but really, like, I should not be paying more to wait longer. Like, you either, like, it's a trade-off. You pay less, you maybe wait more because there's going to be more people. If I'm paying more, I'm expecting pretty high level service as well. And it's not that the people that are making the drink are bad, but the erraticness of the service, you know. It just feels like all around, Starbucks has this elitist feel, but it's not really an elitist quality of a product, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's Starbucks for you, you know. It's weird. They do have like that green Phoebe Buffet looking girl from Friends dressed up in a green outline. That's what she always reminds me of. It's almost like she's supposed to be like a medium. The green little girl, I know there's probably a real backstory. It kind of looks like a nun, like a Michelangelo painting that kind of went wrong. And I'm pretty sure it's probably supposed to be representation of like an hallucination trip. You know? Starbucks is probably supposed to be a trippy place. I wouldn't be surprised if 10 to 15 years down the line, because we've normalized hallucinations and DMT and all that stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if you could get coffee with fucking hallucinogens in it. You know? Stuff to make you go cray cray. But yeah. Because you know what? Because certainly it's going to be like $12 for these drinks. If I'm spending $12, I better be inebriated. I'm sorry. Starbucks, honestly, and I'm not even joking here, I really do think they should merge and try to make alcoholic fusion coffee beverages. I actually do think that would fit their brand. Nothing too crazy. I'm not talking about like tequila or some shit. But you know, have like rum and coffee, like very small amounts of alcohol. Obviously, you would have to be ID'd. Have it where I guess people can't leave the house. That's the only thing. It would have to be one of those things where you would have to serve it in drinks, where cups where people couldn't leave with it. But I do think that would actually be a decent idea, to start having alcoholic coffee beverages. But obviously not at 7 in the morning. You know, have it where you can't have any until after like 4 o'clock. In between the hours of 4 to 8, you can get these drinks or something. You know. Have like some, what is that thing called? Kahlua? It's always something that the ladies mix in their drinks. Oh, Jesus. Some Kahlua, some spiced rum, some chocolate vodka. That was my thing as a 4-year-old. Oh, what a great New Year's for the boy. Now that was child abuse. But actually, the love for the child, you know, introduced me to the taste early so I wouldn't become an addict. That's how you do it. Would you purposely introduce your child, you know, have them sip like a little, not in crave, maybe a little beer here and there, you know, put a little beer in the teacup? That sounds like, I'm not saying give your kids alcohol. I'm going back and forth. I'm saying shit And I don't really mean it, but at the same time, give your kids a little shot of, just like the littlest sip of alcohol once in a while. Introduce their bodies so when the first time they have it, it's not this euphoric feeling. When they start drinking when they're like 16 or 17, it's not this euphoric feeling where they got to crave it or want that sensation all the time with their friends. It's like, that's that balance. You don't want to, you don't encourage your kids to drink. But they're gonna try it. The best thing you do is be honest about it. Like, look, it could be a good time. It could also fuck up your life. So, you know what? Let daddy show you how to put it back. The drink. I'll probably be that dad that has like a secret bar in my basement. And then, have some military folks over and they bring the 110% proof moonshine. Woo, straight gas, boy. Straight gas. But yeah, that was episode 296 of the Often Be podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. Over to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Most important, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to suck some titties. Yeah. I can be your moonshine. They have moonshine for alcohol. How come they don't have sunshine? There's your thought for the day. What would be the sun like if moonshine is just pure, unfiltered alcohol? Then what would be sunshine? I don't know. Either way, I'll remember the Titans. All right, and they'll probably go 5-11 this year. Or 12, since they have an extra game for no reason. But all right, have a great day, morning, night, evening. Don't worry, this camera angle, I'll get it fixed.